Have you ever noticed that the more you try to win people over, the less engaged they seem? You talk more, you over-explain, you try to sound impressive or charming. But instead of drawing people in, you unknowingly push them away. Because attraction, real attraction, has nothing to do with performing. It has everything to do with presence. Stoic philosophy reveals a simple principle. When your mind is steady, your words carry force. And sometimes just 6 words can shift the entire tone of a conversation. 6 words that make others feel respected, understood, and naturally pulled toward you without effort. Today we're breaking down those 6 words, how they work, why they matter, and the Stoic foundation that makes them so influential. So take a breath, settle in, and if you're ready to step into calm confidence, drop a comment below. Calm confidence 1. The Stoic principle behind attraction. Most people assume attraction comes from saying the perfect line, having a certain appearance, or performing a version of themselves they think others will admire. They chase approval, they fill every quiet moment because silence feels uncomfortable. But to the Stoics, this mindset is reversed. You do not attract others by being louder, flashier, or overly entertaining. You draw people in by being grounded. Attraction begins in the mind long before it appears in your speech. The Stoics understood something modern psychology now supports. People are naturally drawn to emotional steadiness. We gravitate toward those who know who they are, not those trying to prove it. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," meaning your inner world shapes the energy others feel around you. If your thoughts are restless, your presence feels restless. If your mind is insecure, your vibe becomes insecure. If you seek validation, your words sound like requests. But when your mind is still and centered, your presence communicates strength without trying. And that is the root of all attraction, calm confidence. Think of the people you've naturally liked. Coworkers, mentors, strangers, romantic interests. They weren't always the most charismatic or attractive. They were simply steady. They moved with a quiet certainty. They didn't need to dominate the moment because their presence carried its own gravity. That is the Stoic approach. This is why the 6 phrases we'll explore soon work so well. It isn't about magic or manipulation. These 6 word sets work because they rise from composure, clarity, and emotional control, the qualities people instinctively trust. Attraction in its purest form is a reaction to emotional safety. As we move into the first word set, remember, the power isn't in the words themselves. The power is in the mindset behind them. Attraction is not a performance. It's a side effect of inner order. And when you master that, people don't just hear you, they feel you. 2. Word set 1. Tell me more about that. Most people think attraction is about talking more. They try to impress by sharing stories, listing achievements, showcasing knowledge, or bringing every topic back to themselves. They believe the more they speak, the more interesting they seem. But human psychology plays out differently. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel interesting. This is why the phrase, "Tell me more about that," is incredibly magnetic. On the surface it feels simple, but when spoken with calm, stoic presence, it becomes a powerful signal. A signal that you're not trying to dominate the moment, not performing, not dragging attention back to yourself. You're giving the other person space to open up, to unfold, to be seen. And being truly seen is one of the deepest human desires. Think about the last time someone listened to you with real curiosity, not waiting to talk, not interrupting, not trying to appear smarter, but genuinely wanting to understand. You likely walked away thinking, "I like this person. I'm not sure why, but I do." That reaction is psychological. And that is why this phrase works so well. Tell me more about that shifts the spotlight onto the other person's thoughts, fears, excitement, and perspective. It signals that you're not just hearing, you're listening. You're not just reacting, you're receiving. Stoicism teaches this kind of humility and patience, the discipline to listen without rushing to judgment. Picture a real scenario, on a date for example. Most people feel pressure to fill every second. They talk fast, try to impress, try not to let silence exist. But someone practicing stoic calm doesn't chase moments, they create space. So when the other person shares something, instead of giving a lengthy response or shifting attention, you simply say, "Tell me more about that." Instantly their guard drops. They open up. The conversation grows deeper. And more importantly, you become a mirror where they see the best version of themselves. The real strength of this phrase lies in what it communicates without saying. I'm not rushing. I'm present. What you're saying matters. You matter. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel valued. And there's a second layer. When you use this phrase, you also gain clarity. People reveal their intentions, honesty, and true character when encouraged to speak. Without realizing it, they show you who they are. This phrase becomes both a bridge and a filter. Tell me more about that. Places you into a rare category, the one who observes, listens, and pays attention. And in a world starving for genuine attention, that is magnetic. 3. Word set 2. What makes you say that? Most people, when hearing something they dislike, react immediately. Someone throws criticism or an unexpected opinion, and the natural impulse is to defend, argue, explain, or push back. But the moment you react quickly, you expose something, that your emotions are steering you. The Stoics handled these moments differently. They believed the first reaction is often the least reliable, and real strength comes not from reacting but from holding back. That's why the phrase, "What makes you say that?" is such a powerful conversational tool. It's calm, neutral, and steady, yet it flips the social dynamic instantly. Imagine you're at work and someone says, "I'm not sure your idea will work." Most people would go straight into defense mode. Why? Because it feels natural. Or they'd respond with irritation or frustration. But someone grounded in Stoic composure would pause, breathe, and simply ask, "What makes you say that?" That one question changes the entire scene. You're no longer the one being evaluated. You become the one gathering information. You're not reacting, you're guiding. You're not defending, you're leading the conversation. You're inviting clarity. Psychologically, this question forces the other person to slow down. They have to explain their intent instead of hiding behind a quick remark or an emotional impulse. It shifts the moment from tension into understanding, from confusion into structure. Now picture this in a romantic setting. Someone tells you, "You seem distant today." Most people react instantly. "No, I'm fine." But you, steady and composed, simply respond with, "What makes you say that?" The impact is immediate. Instead of feeding conflict, you open space. You allow the other person to express what they're feeling. You show you're not threatened, not defensive, not insecure. And that makes you far more attractive than any clever line ever could. This question also reveals true motives. Sometimes the person is worried. Sometimes they're projecting. Sometimes they're unsure. And sometimes they're trying to provoke a reaction. But they can't hide their real intent once you ask them to explain their reasoning. The more they speak, the more they reveal their emotions, their intentions, their insecurities, or their misunderstandings. You gain clarity while staying fully in control of your emotional state. The deeper strength of this phrase is emotional discipline. People trust those who remain grounded in stressful moments. When you answer criticism with maturity, it signals intelligence. When you respond to disagreement with curiosity, it signals confidence. And quiet, unshakable confidence is always attractive. People respect the one who stays composed. People trust the one who chooses understanding. People remember the one who doesn't lose themselves in the heat of the moment. What makes you say that? Is not just a sentence, it's a philosophy. Be curious, not reactive. Be steady, not shaken. Lead the emotional tone instead of being controlled by it. 4. Word set 3. I understand why you'd feel that way. Most people handle conflict in the worst way. When someone expresses frustration or disappointment, the instinct is to defend. We rush to correct their perspective, clarify our motives, or insist that they misread the situation. But Stoicism teaches something different. When emotions rise, your logic must stay anchored. The phrase, "I understand why you'd feel that way," is a powerful tool of emotional strength. It does something rare. It acknowledges the other person's emotional reality without sacrificing your own. It doesn't mean you agree. It doesn't mean you're apologizing. It doesn't mean you're taking blame. It simply means you recognize that their feelings exist and those feelings have a cause, even if you don't share it. Validation is not agreement. Validation is emotional clarity. And humans crave clarity more than they crave being right. Imagine someone tells you, "I felt ignored in the conversation earlier." Most people fire back instantly. "I wasn't ignoring you, I was busy." Or worse, "You're overreacting." Every defensive response creates more tension and drags the relationship deeper into emotional chaos. But a Stoic response sounds like, "I understand why you'd feel that way." In that moment, something shifts. Their nervous system relaxes. Their emotional guard softens. Their mind moves from attack to expression. You take away the fight and replace it with understanding. This is the essence of mature communication. Why is this phrase so attractive? Because emotional safety is one of the strongest bonding forces in human relationships. People are drawn to those who stay composed in conflict, who can listen without collapsing, who can sit with hard emotions without running away. When you say, "I understand why you'd feel that way," you send a subtle message. I can handle intensity. I don't fear emotion. I can stay present. And that level of steadiness is magnetic. Here's a real example. Your partner says, "It hurt when you didn't text me back." A reactive person says, "I was busy." You always assume things. A grounded person says, "I understand why you'd feel that way." Instantly, the partner feels acknowledged rather than dismissed. The conversation eases. You remove the pressure without hiding the truth. From that calm position, you can share your side without escalating the conflict. This phrase is just as effective professionally. If a coworker expresses frustration or misinterprets something, acknowledging their perspective before clarifying facts demonstrates maturity. Leaders use this phrase because it lowers resistance. Most people expect pushback, they don't expect understanding. That surprise alone can diffuse tension. But for this phrase to truly work, your tone must match your intention. Said sarcastically, it becomes insulting. Said calmly and slowly, it becomes transformative. It works because it demonstrates intelligence. It works because it shows emotional strength. It works because it reveals self-control. It works because it shows you're not ruled by ego, and ego is the biggest enemy of connection. Attraction grows in emotional maturity. People gravitate toward those who can weather storms without becoming storms. This phrase, simple, calm, steady, signals exactly that. I can hear you without losing myself. I can face conflict without breaking. I can understand without agreeing. 5. Word set 4. Take your time. I'm here. There's something quietly powerful about someone who doesn't rush, who doesn't pressure, who doesn't collapse under the weight of another person's emotions. In a world where people react instantly, speak instantly, judge instantly, and demand instant answers, the phrase "take your time, I'm here" becomes a moment of calm, a breath in an overheated room. This sentence is not just comforting. It's grounding. It's stabilizing. It's attractive because it communicates more than patience. It communicates presence. Most people don't realize how rare true presence is. Many listen while planning their next reply. Many appear calm while internally rushing the other person. Many show up physically but drift mentally. But when someone feels your full presence, steady, slow, unrushed, it changes everything. Stoicism teaches that inner calm is an active strength, not a passive one. When you say, "Take your time, I'm here," you embody that strength. You signal that you're not driven by urgency, not intimidated by emotion, and not uncomfortable with silence. You're centered. You're composed. You're anchored. People are naturally drawn to anyone who remains anchored when others are overwhelmed. Picture someone close to you who is upset. Their voice shakes, their breathing is fast, their words are scattered. Most people respond by trying to fix things immediately. "What happened? Just calm down. Tell me now." But these responses create pressure. They rush. They tighten the moment. A stoic-minded reply is different. "Take your time. I'm here." Suddenly, the emotional storm slows. Their breathing eases. Their thoughts organize. They feel supported rather than pushed. They feel safe rather than judged. And safety is one of the deepest forms of attraction. Excitement fades. Novelty fades. Looks fade. But emotional safety, people never forget that. This phrase also works outside emotional distress. In conversations filled with vulnerability or hesitation, saying, "Take your time, I'm here," signals that you're patient with the process, not forcing answers. You're creating emotional space. And emotional space is a sign of depth. In a professional setting, imagine someone struggling to articulate an idea in a meeting. Instead of interrupting, you simply say, "Take your time, I'm here." The pressure drops. They regain clarity. They feel respected. And people naturally admire those who give others space to find their voice. This phrase is especially powerful in romantic dynamics. Modern dating is full of pressure and fear of judgment. When someone feels that you're not rushing their emotions, they relax into you. You become the calm in their chaos, a rare and magnetic role. But there's a boundary. This phrase is not about absorbing someone's emotional overload. It's not about sacrificing yourself. It's about giving space, not taking responsibility for their storm. The Stoic lesson is clear. You can support without surrendering. Take your time. I'm here. Doesn't mean you must fix everything. It means you're grounded enough not to internalize their pressure. And that grounded energy is what helps others settle too. People remember the ones who stay steady. People trust the ones who don't rush them. People are drawn to those who can sit with discomfort without escaping. This phrase tells the world, I don't need to control this moment. I don't need to rush you. I'm present, and presence is enough. And in Stoic philosophy, presence truly is one of the highest forms of attraction. There are very few things more magnetic and more uncommon than clarity. Not charm, not performance, not fancy phrases. Clarity. Most people go through conversations guessing meanings, mishearing intentions, or defending themselves against interpretations that were never meant in the first place. Misunderstanding is the invisible root behind conflicts, broken trust, missed chances, and emotional chaos. But Stoicism teaches something radically simple. Pause before the moment takes over you. And that's exactly what the phrase, "Let me make sure I understand," does. Those 6 words instantly stop confusion from growing. They show the other person that you value accuracy more than ego, connection more than quick reactions, truth more than assumptions. This single sentence signals maturity. It signals emotional discipline. It signals leadership. And all 3 are deeply attractive qualities. When you say, "Let me make sure I understand," you're quietly revealing that you're not here to win an argument, you're here to understand reality. Most people rush to defend themselves. Most rush to talk. Most rush to be right. But a Stoic pauses to confirm the truth. Imagine you're in a disagreement and someone throws a harsh judgment at you. "So, you just don't care about my feelings?" The usual response is reactive. "That's not what I said. You're twisting everything. You're overreacting." Those reactions intensify the conflict and break the connection. But a calm, grounded person simply replies, "Let me make sure I understand." Now, instead of reacting emotionally, you're inviting clarity. You're encouraging the other person to slow down, explain what they mean, and separate facts from assumptions. People soften when they feel genuinely understood. The emotional intensity lowers. The conversation shifts from defensive to human. This phrase is powerful in the workplace too. If a coworker offers feedback or expresses a concern, responding with, "Let me make sure I understand," shows professionalism, maturity, and respect. You're not rushing to protect your image. You're prioritizing accuracy so the discussion can move forward intelligently. Leaders use this sentence because it builds alignment. Partners use it because it prevents emotional spirals. Skilled communicators use it because it creates trust. And Stoics use it because it reinforces self-control. The psychology is simple. People want to feel heard, but more than that, they want to feel correctly heard. When you take responsibility for grasping their meaning before responding, you stand out. You're not assuming, not projecting, not reacting. You're verifying. This is emotional intelligence in motion. Now consider dating. Imagine someone tells you, "I felt a little uncomfortable last night." Most people immediately start justifying themselves. But if you respond with, "Let me make sure I understand," everything shifts. You're showing you're not afraid of uncomfortable feelings, not afraid of depth, and not afraid of honesty. You're signaling that you value truth, even when it's messy. That kind of emotional steadiness is incredibly attractive. It communicates, "You can be real with me. You don't have to hide anything." And here's the hidden advantage. The clearer you understand someone's thoughts, the clearer you can see their character. This phrase helps you gather insight calmly. It protects you from reacting to misunderstandings, to feelings that weren't fully expressed, to accusations that weren't even accurate. To use this phrase effectively, your tone should be slow, steady, and sincerely curious. No sarcasm, no irritation, no defensiveness, just quiet clarity. And after saying it, pause. Let the silence do its work. Let them find their words. Let them reveal the truth under the initial emotion. Because that's where real understanding lives. Under the first reaction. Under the first accusation. Under the first wave of emotion. And when you approach conversations like this, something powerful happens. People start trusting you. Not because you're flawless or charming, but because you listen with intention and respond with intelligence. "Let me make sure I understand," tells the world. I choose truth over ego. I choose clarity over conflict. I respond, I don't react. And that kind of energy is unforgettable. That kind of energy draws people in. Word set 6, I appreciate you sharing that. There is a moment in every conversation where someone chooses honesty. When they open up, reveal something vulnerable, uncomfortable, emotional, or deeply personal. Most people don't honor that moment. They change the topic. They downplay the feeling. They joke it away. Or they shift the focus back to themselves. But a Stoic does something different. They honor the moment. They recognize the courage. They create space. And with full presence say, I appreciate you sharing that. This phrase is simple, but it carries real weight. It tells the other person, I see the effort behind your honesty. I respect the risk you just took. You're safe to speak openly with me. Think about how many times someone shared something personal, their fears, insecurities, past mistakes, and received shallow replies. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Or worse, lectures, corrections, or unsolicited advice. Most people aren't trained to handle vulnerability. But Stoicism teaches presence, calm, and honor, especially when emotions run deeper. Now imagine someone tells you something heavy. I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. Or something personal. I don't usually say this, but... Or something vulnerable. I think I messed everything up. The average person jumps into fixing, analyzing, or advising because emotional openness makes them uncomfortable. But you, grounded, steady, stoic, respond with, I appreciate you sharing that. Instantly, the environment shifts. There is no shame, no pressure, no judgment, only acknowledgement. This simple phrase taps into one of the strongest psychological forces in human interaction, reciprocal vulnerability. When someone feels safe opening up to you, they instinctively feel more connected. Their trust deepens. Their respect grows. They feel closer to you. And closeness is the foundation of genuine attraction. Deeper than charm, deeper than charisma, deeper than appearance. Saying, I appreciate you sharing that, also prevents the conversation from turning reactive. Instead of responding with emotion or defensiveness, you stay grounded. You show that their honesty doesn't overwhelm you, that you're not afraid of emotion, that you're not trying to control the moment. You're present. This phrase also opens a pathway to deeper understanding. After saying it, you might follow with something like, what made you want to share that today? Or, how has that been affecting you lately? But even if you don't add anything, the impact stands on its own. It silently communicates, I'm listening. I'm here. Your truth is safe with me. And people remember that. People long for that. People gravitate toward that. Because in a world where everyone talks, very few truly listen. In a world where everyone reacts, very few remain centered. In a world where everyone guards their ego, very few honor someone else's truth. This phrase tells the world, I don't fear depth. I welcome honesty. I respect vulnerability. That kind of presence attracts not only attention but loyalty, trust, admiration, real connection. 8. The Stoic integration. Why these 6 word sets actually work. By now you've seen all 6. They look simple. They appear soft. Nothing about them feels aggressive, manipulative, or dramatic. And yet each one has a powerful influence on how people respond emotionally, psychologically, and socially. Why? Because these phrases operate on principles older than modern psychology, principles the Stoics understood long before we named them. People are not pulled in by words. They are drawn to states of mind. Anyone can memorize a sentence. Few can embody the energy behind it, and it's the energy that attracts. To understand the impact of these 6 word sets, look beneath the surface and see the traits they reveal. Trait 1. Composure. Each phrase forces you to pause, breathe, and respond deliberately. Whether you're asking, what makes you say that? Or offering, take your time, I'm here, you're signaling that you're not controlled by the moment. You're not reacting from fear, ego, or discomfort. Your steadiness becomes a grounding force in the interaction. Trait 2. Curiosity without judgment. Tell me more about that. Let me make sure I understand. What makes you say that? All 3 reflect a desire to understand before acting. People naturally trust someone who seeks clarity instead of defending themselves. They feel safer with a person who listens first and speaks second because that reveals intelligence, patience, and humility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. These word sets embody that principle. You're not imposing assumptions, you're gathering truth. Trait 3. Emotional safety. I understand why you'd feel that way. I appreciate you sharing that. These are not just polite lines. They are signs of emotional maturity. They assure people their inner world won't be dismissed, minimized, or punished. And emotional safety creates deep attraction. People carry wounds from family, relationships, work, and friendships. When you speak with understanding instead of judgment, they experience something rare. And peace is unforgettable. Trait 4. Presence. One of the core virtues of Stoicism. Stoicism isn't about being cold, it's about being fully in the moment without letting fear or desire distort your response. Take your time. I'm here is presence in words. So is, tell me more about that. So is, I appreciate you sharing that. Presence is calm. Presence is steady. Presence is powerful. Trait 5. Ego strength. Not arrogance. Not dominance. Not pretending nothing affects you. True ego strength is staying steady when someone disagrees, criticizes, or expresses emotion. Most people collapse inward or explode outward. But when you remain calm and open, you embody something rare: confidence without insecurity. And that is profoundly attractive. These phrases are also filters. They reveal character, yours and theirs. Someone manipulative struggles when you ask, "What makes you say that?" Someone honest opens up when you say, "I appreciate you sharing that." Someone overwhelmed calms down when you say, "Take your time. I'm here." These word sets show you who people are before you decide how much access to give them. Attraction has never been about clever lines or perfect timing or impressing people. It's always been about the energy you bring, the steadiness behind your words, the clarity behind your presence, the intention behind your actions. These 6 word sets are not magic tricks. They are reflections of who you choose to become. When you say, "Tell me more about that," you show presence. When you ask, "What makes you say that?" you show composure. When you say, "I understand why you'd feel that way," you show maturity. When you offer, "Take your time. I'm here," you show stability. When you say, "Let me make sure I understand," you show intelligence. And when you say, "I appreciate you sharing that," you show gratitude. Together, these phrases reveal something uncommon. A person who responds instead of reacts, who listens instead of performs, who attracts through depth, not noise. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control what others think of us, but we can control the energy we bring into every moment. And when your energy is calm, grounded, intentional, people feel it. They trust it. They're drawn to it. So use these 6 word sets not just as phrases, but as practices. Slow down. Breathe. Stay steady. Speak from a centered mind.